Hello, YouTube fam. This is Uncle Tim Rants and Reviews, the channel where I rant and I review. I'm your host, Uncle Tim. Fam, you know what? My name is Uncle Tim, and I'm a collector. But one thing that I say sometimes, I can be a hoarder too. Also, I know the difference, bro, between collecting and investing. And a lot of times when people collect this stuff, man, they think these are investments. Like later on, I can sell them and get, flip my money. Sometimes you can. Sometimes this shit is just bricks. A lot of these things that you think, going to go up in value, usually don't. A lot of them, man, you can't even move if you even try. Even with the video game market, when it was really hot during the pandemic, man, it was on fire. Now the video game market ain't what it used to be. You got to look at all of this stuff, man. You got to look at, the Funko Pops. They were hot during the pandemic. You got to look at them now. Dude, everything has its time in the sun. If you really just want to invest your money, do it in the stock market. But see, that's up and down too. People say, well, invest in gold or cryptocurrency. That shit is up and down too. There's so many crypto scams, man, and there's so many people selling fake gold and silver out here. You need to really be careful with what it is that you're doing. And I'm looking at it just like this. If you're a collector, collect. If you want to invest, treat this as an investment in your joy. An investment with you reliving days that you had a good time and, you're buying stuff or, your parents, bought you things. Or, to be real honest with a lot of people, they reliving their childhood, and I'm one of them. I look at it this way. There's a lot of things that I couldn't afford when I was little. My parents, I wasn't a collector. I was, a kid that my parents bought toys for. And as an adult, I'm like, damn, I could buy my own shit now. And, it's feeling some kind of way. And see, that's the thing that I'm telling people. Get it and have fun with it. Man, I just keep it in the box because, man, to me, that's a better option, just keeping it in the box. And, I'm going to do this and that, man, and I'm going to look and see what I want to do next. Bro, look, all this stuff that I got, man, it's just stuff. Stuff is all it is, bro. The stuff ain't anything without you. You get what I'm saying? Without you buying this stuff, without you, reliving days, why you think the next generation don't have this? Why they don't feel, close to this stuff? Why you don't see kids in toy aisles like they used to? There's no cartoons tying kids to toys. Free cartoons that you can see on TV every damn day before you go to school and after you come home. They used to have cartoons just like that. I miss that my kids, when they were little, well, they did have Toys R Us and KB Toys. They did have these stores. They did have these resources available. They did have cartoons. They did have, a lot of stuff, man. But I'm telling you, because a lot of people don't understand that times change. The hobby is not really where it's at anymore. Physical play is not really looked upon as something good. It's frowned upon. You fall and hurt yourself or something. You both to fall and hurt yourself. Man, but as an older collector, I could tell you, I could see the shift in the hobby from a distance, man. I seen, how we went from, buying certain things into not seeing things as good. I seen, certain toys like Funko Pops, and people are talking about they little hunks of plastic. I don't understand why anybody would buy a hunk of plastic. And I'm like, ain't the toys behind us hunks of plastic? It makes no sense, man. The logic that people use to hate something is crazy. My thing is, I don't hate it. My thing is, and I'm going to say it just like this, I'd rather have you right there doing that than it's competition over here. You got to choose all that, man. You got to choose what area you want to be in. You got to choose how you want the situation. And a lot of people don't want their situations right. A lot of people just want to complain about every damn thing, bro. And I'm just honest. I don't want to complain about nothing. I'm looking at everything and I'm enjoying this life that I have, man. You enjoy these toys, bro, then you can really see yourself going far. It's raining his ass off outside. But that's the thing that people don't get. Life is not always something that you're going to understand. And I've been screaming at the people for the longest. You know, the comic book boom, it was there for a while back in the 90s, early 2000s. It was hitting hard again. But, one thing that happened was the prices went up. When the prices go up, man, people start, then, like some of the old heads, they used to collect a lot of this stuff. Man, stop collecting. After a while, after you have so much and you run out the room, you don't want to do it anymore, man. If you lost joy in it, you're like, man, I really don't want to do this no more. I'm kind of tired, man. I really want to do something different. What happens when you do something different? Man, I'm just saying, pay attention. This hobby that we love so much, man, is just that. It's a hobby. Don't treat it like it's an investment. I'm going to leave these to my kids. Do they want them? My kids gonna be able to sell this stuff and make good money. Are you sure? Man, I've been sitting here listening to so many people tell me how much they're gonna get from this and that, and they were adding up stuff. Man, you see, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. Bruh, how you even know? Like I said, I do what I do because I want to, not because any damn thing else. I do it because I want to. I collect because I want to. I'm happy collecting. It's something that brings me joy, bro. But sometimes, like I said, even the joy that you get from stuff, sometimes that's short-lived. This is why I say you got to make sure this is really for you before you start spending astronomical amounts of money. Dude, a lot of us done spent so much money in this hobby over the years. You damn near spent $1 million on collections and shit. I've seen people with deep collections. I mean, they didn't spend $1 million initially, but I seen people who got collections that rival that. Video game collections, man, that are just on par, just every damn thing. They got sealed every damn thing. When I say the whole collection is of sealed games, even though I don't understand it, it don't make no sense to me, because why the hell would you have a sealed game? How would you use it? Why the hell had a system if you could never play the game? It don't make sense to me, but it's not meant to. That's the way they collect. It's like inbox collectors. Dude, I don't understand the purpose of having, the toy in box. I used to be an inbox collector, then I realized, I said, man, damn, it's taking up so much room. Only got a few on the wall. I got like 6 figures on the wall. Then, I start opening them up and start putting them on the shelf. And I'm like, damn, I got like 50 figures on the shelf. But I had like 5 figures on the wall, boxes big and stuff. I'm like, let me be honest. It was like 10 figures on the wall. But on the shelf, you could get like 50, 60 figures on it. And you like, man, dude. Then you could pose them and everything. That's what's up. It's all about what you want to do and what you like. Like I said, stop treating it as an investment. Treat it, for what it is. Enjoy your hobbies. Man, enjoy, collecting your die-cast cars. Your Maestos, your Baragos, your Hot Wheels, Enjoy collecting your video games, your Blu-rays, your DVDs, your HD DVDs, man. All of these, your laser discs, your VHS, and all of that, beta tapes. Dude, I used to collect all type of media. Dude, I had so many damn VHS tapes. I think I had over 2,000. This is how bad it was with me. I had it hard. I had laser discs and shit like that. Bro, when I go in, I go in. I don't half-ass any damn thing, bro. I'm like a completionist. I look for every damn thing. And, most of the time people send me lists of shit they got. They be like, man, guess what? Guess what new drop, bro? And I'm looking down a list. I'm looking at all the stuff that I could get affordable. Bruh, I don't look at all the expensive shit first. Who looks at that? Most people collection is filler anyway. Think about it. If you look at any video game collection, how many people get hot fire? The whole collection is nothing but fire. I got nothing but RPGs. Okay, what that mean? Are they any good? If they're not good games, what the hell is the purpose of collecting them, man? If you don't enjoy what you're collecting, you just collecting because they got high dollar values. Remember, dollar values can change. They don't stay the same. This is why I say, collecting versus investing, man, those two different things. Man. Like I said, you could collect anything. A lot of stuff hold value. You can collect purses. Man, to be honest, there are value in purses if you could afford some of the high-end ones. Boy, those retain values better than houses, shit. A Birkin bag, bruh, trust me, them motherfuckers be holding value. Bruh, but till later, thank you for watching. Peace out.